Nearly 18 years ago, Jeep invented the premium SUV segment with the introduction of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. More than 4 million sales later, Jeep improves the formula and hits the sweet spot of real-world capability and on-road refinement with the all-new 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Yada yada yada, premium on-road performance, blah blah blah, Jeep brands its legendary four-wheel drive, and something about tow capability. It's all really just marketing stuff. So Jeep came out with this press release 8 years ago, and it was all to market the brand new 4th generation Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now during that time, they made a lot of noise about how they had improved it and redesigned it from in and out, and they promised everyone that that was going to be the best SUV they've ever made. But was it? I'm here today in this picturesque place in Limuru, and I'm here to find out if all that noise was worth it, or Jeep was selling us a lot of bollocks. Back in 1940, during the Second World War, the US Army contacted several car companies to create prototypes of a four-wheel drive reconnaissance car that they could use for the war effort. Only 2 companies responded: American Bantam Car Company and Willys Overland. Of those 2, the Bantam Car Company was the only one able to roll out a working prototype within the US Army's ludicrous 49-day deadline. The prototype, the Bantam Reconnaissance Car or BRC, passed all of the Army's requirements except engine torque. So Willys and Ford were brought in and they modified the original design slightly, and Willys put a bigger engine in it. Willys was awarded the production contract. Ford was also asked to produce the same car in large numbers, and in 1941, what was to be the first Jeep was rolled onto the battlefield in every single configuration possible. The car was so good that the name the soldiers gave it, a slang word used to describe unproven vehicles by army mechanics, came to define off-road vehicles for years to come and gave birth to an icon. The name? Jeep. Now enough of that. Let's get back to the Grand Cherokee. The Grand Cherokee made its debut in 1992 at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. And it dates back to 1983 when AMC, that's American Motors Corporation, was designing a Cherokee XJ successor. Though the Grand Cherokee actually succeeds the Jeep Wagoneer that had been in production for 29 years. There have been 4 generations of the Grand Cherokee. The 2J, the first generation from 1993 to 1998, the WJ, the second generation from 1999 to 2004, the WK, the third generation from 2005 to 2010, and finally the WK2, the 4th and current generation starting from 2011 to now. Phew, you all thought this wouldn't come full cycle, but here we are. So the exterior of this car is still undeniably a Jeep design, with the classic 7-slot grille, round headlights, and trapezoidal wheel arches, making it stand out in an ever-saturating SUV market. The front, sides, and rear of this car are blocky, giving this car a masculine look and rugged presence. The wheels are adequately sized, 265 section 18-inch tires, one all round, giving the car near official shoes on an otherwise off-road suit. The interior is a pleasant place to be in. This particular car has a wonderful blend of wood and black leather. Most of the surfaces are nice to touch, except the plastics. They are scratchy and have a low-quality feel to them. Shame, considering the leather feels rather good. The interior tech is ancient at this point. First, this car is fitted with an aftermarket infotainment screen that's in Japanese, so I understood none of it. The small digital screen at the instrument cluster was in English and was functional. Scrolling through it using the steering wheel buttons is rather easy. Well, easy-ish, because I wish it wasn't as sophisticated as it is. The gauges are clear to read and the layout is traditional. The seats are electronically adjustable, so is the steering column. You can really adjust and find your perfect driving position. The rear seats can also be adjusted, the backrest able to lean quite a bit. And with the rear seat armrest and cup holders, you can lean back as your driver, Kennedy, takes you to your destination. Ah, bowling. The boot is large with 1,028 liters and 1,945 liters of space, with the rear seats up or folded, respectively. You can fit just about anything in there. Other interior features, such as a two-way climate control, heated seats front and rear, and a heated steering wheel, are also available in this Laredo X trim. The engine is a Pentastar 3.6-liter V6 producing 290 horsepower and 353 Nm of torque. That's enough to make this 2.2-ton SUV go from 0 to 100 km an hour in 9.6 seconds and onto a top speed of 206 km an hour. That's not fast, but if you are looking for a Jeep that goes like a muscle car, then the 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk with its 6.2-liter supercharged Hellcat V8 engine is for you. The all-aluminium dual overhead cam flex fuel V6 engine in this car sends power to all four wheels via a 5-speed automatic gearbox and consumes a rather high 13.8 liters per 100 kilometers of fuel, or 7.2 kilometers per liter of petrol. This car also features Jeep's proprietary Select Terrain all-wheel drive system that lets you choose the perfect mode for any terrain. You can even leave it in automatic and it will choose the modes on its own. It's a clever system, this, with a low-range mode and hill descent control feature available as well on this Laredo X trim. Safety-wise, the car has a 4-star safety rating. With its rigid unibody construction, independent suspension, traction control, parking sensors, and 6 airbags, this car is as safe as they came back in 2011. Not bad. What do we think about this 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laroque X trim model? Blah 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 and a lot of stuff. Well, let's get something straight from the start. The whole thing of Jeep inventing the premium SUV, well, that's all malarkey, to be honest. I mean, we all know the Range Rover invented the premium SUV in the 70s Jeep, so that is obviously a lie. But in terms of the car itself, how does the car feel? How does the car react? What have I thought about the driving of this car? Well, off-road, I mean, you'll be hard-pressed to find something else that isn't a Range Rover that drives better than this off-road. This thing hardly gave us an issue. We've been driving it all day on off-road tracks we've been finding here in Limuru, and it just does the job. It has a really high ground clearance, so you never feel it's as if you're about to ground out or scratch the car from underneath. And the off-road system, whether it's in auto or when you choose an actual mode, it just, like that, sends power to where it needs. You never get stuck. Even the moment when you are climbing rocks and you'd feel a bit of slip, man, the car just handles it. Like the computer, the Select Terrain, such a good system. I love this thing. What else? Apart from that, the on-road driving, maybe I have some few gripes there. I mean, the suspension is quite stiff. So in terms of getting the right sort of feel, it becomes quite difficult. It's very jittery and juggery and everything. So unless you're really on a smooth road like the one we are on now, you're going to really struggle with this. But it does drive okay. You don't go around feeling it's as if you're seated on a mkokoteni or a wheelbarrow. So that's one advantage for that. And a random fact, by the way, the word Cherokee comes from the indigenous American people who used to live in the southwest of America. They were colonized, kicked out, and stuff happened. Fuel consumption is it's incredible. So the advertised fuel consumption is around 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which to all credit, it's quite high. But the thing is, we've only managed to average out like 19 liters per 100 kilometers, which is quite high. So it consumes a lot of fuel, like a lot of fuel. And even right now, we are currently running on empty, but let's gloss over that. But in terms of it, when the fuel tank is full, the whole 93 liters of it drives well. It's very smooth on the road. The engine responds to a degree with the 290 horsepower on top. The gearbox, it's an old 5-speed gearbox, but you know, unless you're canning it, you never feel like you're missing out on the best. Maybe I'll have a different opinion when I drive something else. What else can I talk about it? The seats, well, you can change it to any position you want, but it's still quite tough. It's very hard, it's very stiff. The quality of the inside. I mean, some parts are good, maybe, I don't know. I think this might be real wood. This is definitely maybe maybe chrome. I think this is something else. You've got plastic here, plastic there. Okay, it's a Jeep, all right? You're not buying a Range Rover, you're not buying a Mercedes, you're buying a Jeep. All you want to do is go off-road and maybe hope that it's so rugged. And inside, everything is very hard and tactile. You can even see the sunroof there. So my final opinion, not a bad car. Would I buy it? I don't know. I mean, the Range Rover Evoque we drove on the first episode, that was 4.5 million. And that's the same price they're going to sell you this car in Palatial Motors. They'll sell it also for 4.5 million. And also that's the going price for any other place you're going to go and get. So if you're going to buy it, maybe shop around first. But would I complain if I found someone had actually just gone out and chucked out the money and bought it? Not at all. This is a good car off-road. It might have its own quiggles on the road, but let's be honest, it does the rest perfectly well. The boot is humongous. The seats can be adjusted until it's at least bearable. It does have heated seats. It does have a heated steering wheel. The fuel consumption might be high, but with 93 liters of a fuel tank, that will give you like almost 800 kilometers per tank. So the range is good, and it's quite good. I like it. Range Rover, I mean the 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee, not a bad car. Maybe I could give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Wouldn't buy it myself, but I won't blame you when you buy it. And another random fact, this car actually has 5,400 welds. It makes it stiffer than the comparable BMW X5 of 2011. Yeah, you can boast with that fact when they ask you why you didn't buy a Range Rover. And that's enough of random facts. Until next time, goodbye.